A dominant display as the Plains land a perfect double act and touchdown in the 8. This is the Sash Women's, most definitely not the official podcast of the Essendon Football Club's women's side. And as always, I'm Courtney and I'm joined by Ari and Jordy. How are we, boys? Big week last week.
It didn't stop.
Big 10 days.
Footy on footy on footy on footy
I know.
on footy.
I feel like every time I turn the TV on, I was like, oh, football's on. Okay.
Yeah.
Open wide for some footy.
The congested fixture's got a lot to answer for, but it is so cool having a game every night. It is a lot of fun.
It is.
I actually didn't mind it at all. I quite enjoyed
I
it.
was like, let's just do the whole season in
let's
3
do the whole
weeks.
time.
Every night.
Let's sneak another one. Let's go 4 games in 10 days.
Well, let's do 22-game season and we'll fit it all into 10 weeks.
Yeah. We'll just have every week be an A-B week.
We'll need
just run everyone right into the ground.
Yeah, we'll need like a 50-woman squad.
Some beautiful depth in that. Shall we get straight into it? It's going to be a big episode this week, I think.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Has the vision to square it back to Press Marcus for her first goal as a Bomber. And as she so often has, secures victory. Something to celebrate for Essendon in their 150th year. The Bombers with their first AFLW win.
Wales, about 45. Lets it go right to the line, and it is all the way home.
I'm Georgia Nanscorn, and you're listening to The Sash.
All right, round 6A, we had Essendon defeating Sydney at Whitten Oval. This was a great game, very tight in the end, 4-3-27 to 3-6-24. Essendon, we had Elise Gamble kicking 2 majors, Paige Scott and Adams with 1 each. And then for Sydney, 1 each for Rebecca Privatelli, Lucy McAvoy and Ella Heads. Can I just say the Whitten Oval is gorgeous?
So nice, isn't it?
It's such a nice ground now that they've like refurbed it. It's actually feels more like an elite club is using its facilities rather than it being just like a real kick around kind of oval.
Which it kind of was back in.
It really was, yeah.
Steph Kane worked on the Whitten Oval refurb.
Did she?
Yeah, I think she's like an engineer or something.
There you go.
I hope she buried some bones or something underneath it. Yeah.
Maybe that's why they're so shit. Don't you remember? I think when she was named captain, Nat Wood came to see her at work. She's like in a hard hat.
Oh, that's right. And she was at Whitten Oval.
And wrote it on a coffee and gave her the
And we got 1,460 people at the ground, which is, I think, it's a pretty decent turnout. It was a Wednesday night. It was pretty bloody cold.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I still had an ice cream, even though it was cold. It was good.
And also considering it's like not the home ground, you know.
Yeah.
I think probably if that was at Windy Hill, obviously it couldn't be because of the lights. But if it was, you'd probably get a few more.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes me really it makes me look forward to this game on the weekend coming up even more because it was just like another chance to go back to Whitten with an even bigger crowd. It's going to be so cool.
Yeah, it's going to be nice. And it was good to see the team backing it up for a midweek game as well, being able to turn it around. I don't think we only had 1 out after everything.
Yeah, Cody
was out, and that was it.
No.
And Bushy came in, and then there was one other person.
Sophie van der Heuvel injured.
Yes. Well, she's out for the season, isn't she?
Yeah. So we were questioning how bad her injury was last week, but bad enough that she's
season
not playing
ending.
the rest of the season. Does anyone know why we were in the clash strip?
I don't know, and it was
No
really
idea.
frustrating because it's like Sydney wore white.
Yeah, well, black.
Why were
made
we wearing
sense.
black?
Yeah.
Why did we have to wear the red?
Yeah, and there was they were white and red. It made no sense whatsoever, and it was a home game.
Yeah.
Why? Anyway,
A good question. Maybe they were in the wash. I don't know.
yeah, they literally couldn't turn around the jumpers in 3 days.
They'd already sent them up to Gold Coast. They're in the mail.
Maybe. Who knows?
Could be,
that's a good question. If anyone that's listening from the club
knows why that
can let us know. I did see Cody Jacques there, and I feel like she kept like looking at me, and I'm like, I don't know if we actually know each other, but what? So if she's a listener of the podcast, hello, I guess. But yeah, good things. It was really nice to see Scotty making some magic. They were really attacking on the footy, really breaking through the Swannies' defence. Rewarded with a goal on top of their 15 disposals and a really, really good grab that I, like, as soon as I saw it happen, I was like, that's a highlight.
Yeah.
It's like you just have to let the highlights come to you naturally instead of trying to, like, create them, I think.
Well, and I also feel like the best example of when they play, like, top footy is just being really hard at the ball, really coming, like, attacking the contest, full body, just taking out anyone in the way. And she just wasn't doing it. They were always trying to take, like, mark of the year, one-handed, all this kind of stuff. They can do all that. So I keep misgendering her. But I don't know. I feel like this was a return to what we loved in season 1. Yeah. And it was doing the basics really well and then adding the cream on the top of it.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's what we kind of, like, shouted out a few weeks ago. We were just like, if they can just go back to doing those fundamentals and doing them really well and perfecting their craft, like, those highlights will come naturally because it's just the way that they can manipulate the footy, the way that they can read the ball. And we saw that happen in this game.
Absolutely. It's a real great Scott, Back to the Future kind of stuff. Yeah. It was nice.
Some free social media content for the Essendon Football Club if they would like it. Great Scott. I also, speaking of Scots, my friend made a good joke the other day. Instead of Brad Scott, it should be Brat Scott, and just lean into the Charlie XCX. I don't think he deserves that treatment, but, elsewhere, we had Elise Gamble slotting away 2 goals in the first half. Really, I think they really set the tone for the game and also for the team, like coming hard at it, playing a full 4 quarters of football. We kind of pulled away quite early, which was great. Sydney managed to pick up and catch up a little bit towards the end, which made a really stressful last 5 minutes.
She's looking great as a forward. She's really starting to look
I think
like
that
she
was
belongs
a
there.
really smart move played by
And her finishing is just so good, which really stands out that we do have problems with that. And I just have confidence in her taking shots at goal. But, it wasn't really a hanger, but the great mark on the line. Yeah. You just love to see that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mentioned it last week, so I won't go too far into it, but the defensive pressure from someone of that size is just such a handy little thing to have. It's really cool seeing her in there and doing her stuff.
Yeah.
And she dislocated a finger too.
Where?
Yeah. Very early on.
Oh, no.
And managed to still have a big impact.
Kicked her goals after the dislocation.
Yeah.
You just got to go back in, pop it in and tape it up.
You'll be right.
Fine.
You'll be right.
Backline was looking really strong with Georgia Clark and Amy Gaylor both back there with 15 disposals and 6 intercepts each. Really dampening Privatelli, who, like, she's known to be quite dominant in that forward 50, and I think we saw that in the Swans following game. She had, like, a really good game against, I can't remember who they played, but it was just, like, completely different. I think it was Geelong, yeah. And then Maddie Prespakis had a pretty hard tag on her from Tanya Kennedy. So she only got 19 disposals. It's still pretty good, but it's not the best that we know that Maddie can hit.
Yeah, when she has that really strong tag, she's always around 18, 19. And when she's off the chain, she's, 30, 32.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it a bit when we get into the Gold Coast game, because there was some really good coaching from Nat Wood to try and fix this.
Shake that hard tag, yeah. And Nan Scorn had a bloody ripper of a game.
Oh, absolutely. Like, you just said that, Prespakis wasn't the best, but when she's not, Nan Scorn can step up and fill those shoes so easily. Like, it's not even I'm not worried if Maddie's got the tag anymore, because we have got the timber and the stocks to really, really push through, and doesn't make a difference at all, really.
Yeah, you just got to get Nan Scorn to get that dog in her. And look out. You can't put 2 hard tags on. Brookie having a good game?
Yeah, she had absolute leather poisoning.
Love that.
In at least the first quarter and a half. I felt like every time that we turned the ball over, it was her with the ball. She was just getting so much of it. Definitely her best game in an Essendon jumper. 23 disposals, 11 tackles, 3 marks. I think like 5 or 6 intercepts as well. So she was, great. Sort of playing her part in that kind of wall outside 50 that's really become our sort of calling card this year.
Yeah.
Had a great game.
Love that. And if you were watching it live, I believe it's been taken out of the repeat. But at 3/4 time,
It's not in the mini match.
It's not in
It
the
is
mini
the
match.
full
Okay,
one.
so it's in the full one. So if you want to look for it, just before 3/4 time, there was a big old biff. With Lexi Hamilton from Sydney bailing out Maddie Pressparkers. And I've heard that the Hamilton sisters are quite aggressive. I have not firsthand, like my friend has firsthand experience with those girls. So it's really not surprising that they were right in the thick of that melee. I believe there were multiple concussions happening at one point in time. I'm not going to divulge any further than that.
Won't press.
Won't press.
Yeah.
But yes, just very, very aggressive players. So.
I know. I loved it. I loved the whole thing. Loved the melee.
Oh my God.
Loved everyone jumping in.
Yeah.
Scotty
Have you seen the
grabbing
report
or just
list?
throwing people. Oh,
The report list is about a mile long,
Yeah.
and everyone got like $200 fines.
Yeah.
Like,
People getting dragged around.
oh, it was
Steph
beautiful.
Kane had a good drag at one point, like a good 5 meter drag.
Yeah, I saw that. Someone
Unreal.
having their jumper pulled up over their head, that kind of
I
stuff.
feel,
I'm
I feel like
let's
Steph Kane.
go.
I feel like Steph Kane would be handy in a fight. She looks handy.
I feel like the women's, I don't know what it is, but in the women's game, like the melees are just a lot more entertaining than the men's. The men's are all like puffy chests and they're like grabbing it, like trying to do that pull back punch thing. And it's like the chicks are just like straight on the ground.
Yeah. Maybe it's just the level of fines that they incur.
Yeah.
Because the men are going to get like 10, 15 grand. So
Yeah,
no
and
one
they're like
wants to-
$200. They're
No
like,
one wants
all
the
right.
wrestling, you know. People don't even do jumper punches that much anymore
I
because you
know.
get rubbed out for it.
I found out those fines are tax deductible the other day.
Are they?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like punch a bloke and you get a nice little return. It's
Well, it's a
ludicrous.
work expense. It is.
Claim it at tax time.
Yeah, truly.
Imagine getting pulled up by the ATO and having to explain that one.
What happened at work?
It's like, oh yeah, I had an altercation at work against Toby Green. Can I have my money back?
Makes sense to me.
It does. That should be tax deductible. It's a charity at this point. Adam's playing well, popping up at the right places at the right time.
Yeah, she did the Cody role.
Right,
She
yeah.
came in for Cody and did that really well. Pressure. And I quite like her. She's a little nugget.
Yeah.
I feel like she'll be a very Nan Scornish type player one day.
Yeah.
In and under.
You got to have at least one staffy in the side.
Yeah, she is that. I still want someone from the club to explain what the fuck the story is with the helmet and why there's still tape on it. What is the tape covering?
Where's the tape on her helmet?
Right around the side.
Right around, like
Oh,
around the
really?
sort of forehead temple area.
Yeah.
It goes all the way around.
Yeah.
It's clearly cosmetic. There's a reason.
Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe it's like a
It's like this.
like a good luck thing or something like that. You know,
I don't
like
think so. I reckon there's like branding underneath. that
branding.
they don't
Probably.
wanna show. But like,
from another club.
but they could. Well, whatever it is, they could have figured it out by now. It's like maybe first game she was a surprise late
Yeah.
call. I can understand, but it's been some weeks
Yeah.
that she's been out of the team. They could have got her.
Maybe
a
it's her
helmet.
lucky helmet.
To add insult to injury, there was a Suns player with a helmet on too, and it was red, it was yellow, it was like just perfectly colour matched to the
Yeah.
jerseys. It was fantastic.
Kicking around with something with tape all over
Yeah,
it.
and we're watching, like Div 4 resis kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Div 4 is great. Thank you. It's true, though. Not too many bads, I don't think, apart from just kind of running out of juice in that last quarter, which was pretty fair enough. It was a pretty tight game all the way through. But a few dropped chest marks.
Yeah, early in that fourth quarter, within a space of about a minute and a half, I think it was, Gamble and Bannister both dropped chest marks, sort of 15, 20 out directly in front, which I'm not going to like drill them about, shit happens, but
I'd like to see you try.
yeah, truly, exactly. But if one of those goes through, the game is killed so much earlier. That we would have gone to a 4-goal lead with 10 minutes to play. It would have been a little bit smoother, and I could have saved a few of the hairs on top of my head that are disappearing.
Oh,
very
yeah.
quickly.
I thought that like my stress levels and like my blood pressure would be relaxed with the women's because I know that the men's are very quick to put me in an early grave, but it seems that the women's side are keen to do the same thing. We had a few like hospital passes and stuff as well, just people getting the ball given to them while they're under pressure.
Yeah, it just annoys the shit out of me. I'll shout out Georgia Nanscorn because she never does this. When she handballs, she finds someone in space who's got time to get
You
rid
look
of
on the
it.
45 and about 5 meters away, minimum.
Yeah, the amount of times we handball to someone under more pressure than the person handballing, like, if you're not sure, dispose of it by kicking it yourself.
Yeah.
Don't hospital pass.
Yeah, get it on the boot. Just get it out into space. All right, let's go into our coaches' votes before we head to a break and come back for round 6B. So our coaches' votes this week, or not this week, but it's top half of this week. 9 for Sophia Hurley from Sydney, 6 for Laura Gardner from Sydney, 6 for Brookie Walker, 5 for Amy Gaylor, 3 for Tanya Kennedy from Sydney, and 1 for Paige Scott.
A lot of Sydney love for a loss.
A lot of Sydney love.
I don't like it. I don't like it one little bit.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Noticing no Hamilton sisters in there. So.
Good to see Amy Gaylor got the votes there.
That is true.
Yeah, very deserved. And we'll talk a little bit more about her after the next one. But let's head to a break and we'll be back for round 6B against the Gold Coast. You're listening to the Sash Women's and we're looking at round 6B. It is actually being described as 6A and 6B, right?
Yeah, loosely.
So it's technically 11 rounds, but 10.
I don't know. On the AFL website, it's just that was round 6. We played twice.
On the Essendon website, they had it down as 6A, 6B, but then I also saw, was it part 1, part 2 somewhere? No, that's
I
not
hate this.
Yeah, whatever.
It's like round 0. Don't do this again. Anyway, we defeated Gold Coast up at People First Stadium on the Goldie. 5-6, 36 to 4-3, 27. Goals for us, we had Maddie Pressbuckers and Amber Clark with 2 each and 1 for Wellesley as well. Gold Coast had Jack Dupuy. Is it Dupuy or Dupuy?
Dupuy, I think.
Dupuy. I was saying this in my head over and over today.
If it was the French pronunciation.
Yeah, Dupuy with 2, Tara Bahana and Jordan Membry with 1 each. And it was a hot game, quite literally.
Yeah.
32 when it started.
Yeah, a bit hot. That's, no.
Yeah.
They say that they don't want to play in summer and then they have to go up to the fucking Gold Coast and play in 32-degree heat.
Although I'd prefer to play in Gold Coast during the day without the dew.
Yeah. I think that
actually would have been much more difficult.
I think we might have lost the game if that was a bit later in the day, to be honest. But we didn't, so whatever.
Oh, well. It's also Bess Kearney's first game against her old side as well, which is always fun to have. And Nanscorn's still rocking the sleeves, despite it being 32 degrees at the start of the game, but just had them rolled up a little bit to help with the heat.
The sun smartness. Zinc on the nose.
Yeah.
She was warming up in a bucket hat as well.
Bless.
That's great.
Georgia G went no sleeves, though.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's the second time ever she's done that.
Interesting.
I don't like it.
If you're going to do the sleeves, you have to commit.
Yeah.
All weather.
Although, in saying that, Jess Wushner was a majority sleeves player, but she did go sleeveless.
Yeah.
Like when weather needed it.
Yeah. I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I would just immediately overheat.
Live by the sleeves, die by the sleeves.
Yeah.
Week in, week out.
And I respect Nanscorn, the sun smart approach.
Absolutely.
It's a good role to, role setting, I think. Lead by example with that kind of stuff. It was our second tight game of the week as well. And also, really good to see that, like I said, they'll put me in an early grave.
Yeah, I think you've got to cut the team a lot of slack. That is hard to do back up that many times. 3 games in 14 days. That is hectic.
Yeah, it's too much.
Travelling as well for this one as well.
Yeah.
So, I expected we'd be flatter than we were.
I will admit that I haven't actually watched this full game. The daylight savings fucked me on the timings. So I didn't get to watch it on the day. And then I think they'd only put up the game like maybe 10 minutes before we jumped in the studio. So I've watched the 10-minute mini match a couple of times and that's about it. But Bonnie was back, so that's good.
Yeah.
Started on as well, which is nice. I thought she might have just started on the bench and then worked her way in, but sitting down in deep full forward territory. For you guys watching it, how was her game? She didn't seem like she kind of starred too much in the 10-minute.
She didn't have a massive impact. Brutally honestly, but that wasn't what I was hoping for coming into the game when I saw her listed. I was just hoping get through the game.
Yeah.
And she did that. But even her being there, even when she's not kicking the goals, getting the possessions, getting the marks, she's still something that they have to think about constantly.
She draws a crowd.
Exactly, you're right. So I think that makes it easier for everyone else around her. Amber's always got a one-on-one. Gambler's got a one-on-one. Bannister's got a one-on-one. Rather than the last couple of weeks, it's been a bit more congested. So having her there frees everything up, and she will obviously get better through the season in the next coming games.
Also probably just really good to have that extra leadership on the ground as well and have a bit more forward leadership too.
I just wanted to see her moving well, being being able to burst into packs. She had a massive hit as
Yeah.
well. Came up fine.
Got up,
afterwards.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's good to see. Maddie Press-Parker's having a great game as well with 22 disposals and 2 goals, as we said before. Did have a tag from Elise Barwick, but seemed to shake that off a bit better than what she did with the Sydney game.
Yeah, so we spoke about this when we talked about the Sydney game a little bit, but Nat Wood moved her to like a forward flank,
Okay.
sort of halfway through to shake the tag, and that's how she ended up with goals. But yeah, I thought really good coaching from Nat Wood because she was able to have an impact outside the contest. There was also like quite a lot of time she was the outlet when we were moving from the back 50.
Yeah.
And she, she's a good ball user. I like the ball in her hands. And she had obviously a lot more time not being in the congestion of stoppages.
And it means she can come into the stoppage late as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if she's starting at a centre bounce or at a ball in or whatever it is, she will have someone there, arm and shoulder on her the entire time. But when she can come in late drifting, and she has got a bit more space,
grab those crumbs and
it's really
take
helpful.
off. Yeah. And speaking of Maddie, there was one goal there where she celebrated by lifting up her Guernsey and pointing at her stomach. You thought it was a bit of a Nikki Winmar a moment, but she's actually been dealing with some really awful people on social media who've been making comments about her body. And if there's something that footy has taught me, it's definitely more about like what your body can do than what it looks like. And I think that's something that I've really taken out of my footy career. Like I'm not a stick thin person, but it's more about like the way that you can use your body and use it in ways that benefits your game. I'm not a fast runner, but fuck me, I can put on a hit. Like, and I think that was a really like, just a very clever and very like subtle way, like a real like if you know kind of thing, rather than making like a big fuss about it. But I mean, like if she wanted to make a big fuss, go for it. Like she can do whatever she wants. But I think that was a really nice way to kind of stick it up the people who are like, you're too fat to play footy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, it makes a little sense because it's like, what would the criticism be that like she's not fit enough when she's getting 32 disposals?
I know. It's like, bitch, you try do that.
Running rings around the midfield. Like, you know what I mean? She's like, I don't know.
People just, are just awful. Yeah. There's some people who I'm like, you should just not have internet access. Or like, I actually was thinking the other day, I'm like, I think we've hit a point of not needing Facebook anymore.
Yeah, to be honest, I completely missed all the criticism that she was getting because I'm clearly just not online enough.
Yeah.
Until it was like,
and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Never be online.
Yeah.
It was mostly just coming through like her Instagram. I think that's where I saw it. She put it on her stories. But
I'd put a fair bit of money on the fact that the people that are like digging her out for this are, in their profile photo, shirtless with a beer, like
holding a fish.
Yeah, I'm not sure you're in any state. I'm not going to generalise, but most of you can fuck off. Yeah, hypocritic bastards.
Yeah, no, I think we've progressed the parts in need of Facebook. Just leave me Marketplace, and that's it. We don't need anything else.
Oh, that's some great stuff on Marketplace.
Oh, so much good stuff on Marketplace. But yeah, thanks, Maddie. Good on ya. Looking over another person who had a great day, Nance Corn as well. 28 disposals, including 7 clearances, which is so good. Love that. Getting some media props as well.
Yeah, I think while you were away, Jordy and I were speaking about how, despite the fact that she's one of our best performers every week, we so rarely hear, even on commentary,
real quiet achiever,
them talk about her and her influence on the game. But that started to change early this season, and like on credit to the girls this week, they really picked her out.
Nice.
The impact that she's having.
Yeah.
Like I think she's top 2 BNF.
Yeah.
So
I'd say so. Yeah.
Her and Maddie Gay.
100%.
Yeah. Which, she was great last year, but I think she's really taken it to a new level this year.
Yeah. And you know what? The only podcast that she's done a sting for is us. Yes. So we've been number one fans since day dot. So that's really good. She definitely deserves her flowers. And I'm so glad that more people are paying attention. This win as well puts us in the 8, which is great. Doesn't quite lock us in yet. I think if we get a win against the Dogs this week, that will lock us in and cement us in a bit more. But we're now 4 from 7 games, which I think is a really, really good place to be at this point in the season.
Winning all 3 in that 10-day period.
Did anyone else do that?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'd
Did
have to
North
have
Melbourne do that? Let me have a look. You keep
I think
yapping. I'll look.
Melbourne did. But that's to be expected.
They probably did.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
week.
North Melbourne are on a different planet, but like I wouldn't have expected those 3 games were sort of penciled in as maybe some of the easier we'd had in the year to face, but to still come out with all 3 wins is just a phenomenal effort, and particularly given that there was so little team changes. No one was rested really. Like, well, no one was rested. So yeah, I'm so impressed. I was expecting to drop at least one of those. Maybe the Gold Coast game I thought was a bit of a tricky spot given we lost there last year, but yeah, no, super impressive. Very, very happy with it all.
Yeah.
And the draw from now on, we've got the Roos in a few weeks, which let's face it, we ain't winning. But aside from that, Richmond is our next hardest game.
Up in Darwin.
It's in Darwin, which is probably evens out who's got any kind of advantage. No one knows, but they're very high.
But I mean,
on the
if we
ladder.
perform quite well in Gold Coast in 30-degree heat,
Yeah, you got to think we can.
you'd think that we
transfer
do
it to
okay.
Darwin.
Yeah.
But like I think it's a bit like where West Coast were like 3rd on the ladder a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit of a false position with Richmond. I don't think they're that good. So I think that's winnable as well. But we probably don't even need to win all but the North Melbourne game anymore to make finals. We probably need to win.
It's probably a little bit early for ladder predictor chat, but I did do one this afternoon.
It's never too early for ladder predictor chat.
I put us down conservatively losing to North Melbourne and Richmond.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, we have to win quite big against the Dogs or Carlton to sneak above. I had Port and St Kilda in 7th, 8th on the same amount of games.
Yeah.
So we have got a little bit of leeway, but we do really need to make it count in those Carlton Dogs games.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm just looking at this, and I think North Melbourne only played twice in the last couple of weeks. I don't think they had a 3rd game.
Yeah, I think they've
Must be nice.
I think they've got theirs coming up. Their extra game, yeah.
That's so weird. I hate this.
Because there's still
Makes it too
teams. There's still
confusing.
teams on uneven wins right now on the ladder.
Right.
So like Adelaide's played a game less. They haven't had their double game yet.
Okay. I feel like I'm like the lady doing the maths. I'm just like...
Adelaide, St Kilda, Melbourne, GWS have all played one less game.
Okay. Cool.
So they've got extras coming.
Defensive wall outside that forward 50. You were liking that again, Ari?
Yeah, so I really like that we can see now a definitive game style. Like this is how Natwood wants us to play, which is that we put on a lot of pressure inside forward 50, and so the exit kicks are always pressurized, and then we're really well structured outside 50 to intercept, because this has been happening for even when we were losing. This was happening that teams would find it really hard to exit their D50, and we'd get a lot of intercepts around sort of 70 metres from goal. We haven't always been able to translate that onto the scoreboard because our delivery inside 50 hasn't been great, or if we haven't finished or whatever, but this is clearly how she wants us to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we lock it in, we keep the ball inside 50, and we do that by pressure and then structure. And I think Maddie Gay's acquisition, her leadership, how well she kind of directs the troops, and then like the season Georgia Clark's having, and all these players who played that sort of ring roll outside 50 have all had great seasons because they've done this every week.
Yeah. The wall is, when it's done right, my God, it is impenetrable.
Yeah. The boys had the edge.
Yeah.
We have the wall.
Which one's performing better? Who's to say? Speaking of Georgia Clark, she almost got goal of the century in this game.
It was. I got off the couch twice during this little bit of play. Like 25 metres out from goal, she's in a one-on-one defending, gets a good spoil in, follows it up, gets the hands out to, I think it's Morecambe, who then flicks it out to, I think maybe even Gaylor. Georgia Clark keeps going, gets the handball received back about 70 from goal, defensive, hits a target, Amber Clark 40 metres up the ground.
Yeah.
There's no one goal side of Amber Clark, so Georgia
Oh my
Clark's
God.
like, all right, fuck this, all right, I'll do
Puts the burners
I'll do
on.
it. She absolutely launches herself down the wing, gets the chip over the top, runs from 60 out to 40 out, lines it up, drop punt on target, falls 5 metres short. I was screaming at the TV. It was unbelievable.
It would have been goal of the year by such a wide margin.
Oh my God.
It would have been one of the best goals I've ever seen
Yeah.
AFLM,
Ever.
AFLW,
Amazing.
country footy.
Possessions in a chain from the last line of defence to
That's
shot a goal.
crazy.
And just like a flat out 200-meter sprint.
Yeah.
Didn't stop, didn't wait, just absolutely gunned it. It was so
What was her
cool.
meters gained in that game? Does anyone know?
Yeah.
Probably something absurd. But yeah, a bit sad that it was. It all ended not with a goal, but with an intercept mark from a Suns player.
Yeah, true. Almost goal of the year.
Almost goal of the year. We'll pay it for you, George. Morecambe and Alexander deserving a little shout out. What were they up to?
I think they just contributed really nicely. Neither of them are sort of superstars of the team, and I don't look to them as game winners particularly, but they just really fulfilled their roles perfectly. Alexander played a little bit higher up the ground, I thought, against Gold Coast. Giving a bit more space to Bonnie and Gamble and all those to do their bidding. But I thought she did really well as sort of that outlet kick and a link up between D50 and forward on the wing. I thought it was really, really impressive. So, yeah, shout out to those two.
Morecambe's taking some great defensive marks as well.
Yeah, that's actually true. I think she had 3 contested marks. It was, both really good.
And just to the question you asked before, Georgia Clark had 420 metres gained, which was third best on the ground, second best for us.
100 of those were in that sprint.
Yeah,
Just in that one play.
In that one play.
Fuck. Amy Gaylor's really growing into the season as well.
Yeah. Her last 2 games have been absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah.
We'll speak a little bit more on it later, but I said a few weeks ago that she'd had a nice start to the season as a rookie coming in. Had her spot. She was just sort of ticking along nicely. Didn't do anything too wrong. Didn't do anything amazingly well. She was holding her spot nicely, but the last 2 weeks she has exploded.
That's so good.
And really shown as to why they took her so highly in the pre-signing draft, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
She's doing really, really, really well, but we will speak on her a little bit later, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just love her left foot. It's like it's a wand. It's like Cade Simpson kind of areas.
Yeah.
I do like it off the back flank as well. I think that works quite well.
That's so good. And a bit of great footy IQ coming from Maddie Gay, reading her ball in flight. Her intercept marks. So good. She's just like right place at the right time. And it just seems to be like reading the ball so much better than anyone else around her.
Yeah, so there was a period in the game we were playing an extra down back, which she was, and then she's like 20 metres off the Gold Coast player who had Georgia Clark on her or Morecambe or whoever, but she just reads it so much better than everyone else around her because the kick comes in targeting that Gold Coast player and may intercept because she's moved quicker than anyone else has.
Yeah.
She's great. I think it would have been really interesting had Bonnie been fit all year to see how much better we would have been than last year.
Yeah.
Because kind of we didn't really have anyone who could do this job last year. And Bonnie had to sub in and do it. So she's made a massive difference, and it's a shame that we didn't have Bonnie to kind of take her usual role up forward. But she's just had a fantastic year.
Yeah. All right, let's look at a few bad things. Not too many, but I do think that we just like really struggled to convert into goals. We were quite dominant across the ground, but like we had 44 inside 50s to their 26, and yet we only had 1 goal extra than they did. I think there's a lot of work maybe to be done, and just like getting it into that forward 50 and locking it in and making that convert.
I just think our ball use inside 50 was shit house. We, like you said, 44 inside 50s. We got it in more than enough. I don't think our forwards were any more profligate or anything than they usually are, but I think we just didn't hit targets over and over and over again. It was like what we did at the start of the year where we were kicking it over heads and leaving it short and just someone's leading into space and it just doesn't...
Just missed, yeah. I do wonder if that's maybe the fatigue of having 3 games in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, it could be. But you know what's weird? It's like our ball use generally, like our field kicking around the ground was fantastic. We were back
just
to this chipping it around, hitting targets, and then just the 1 kick inside 50 couldn't hit a target. It was bizarre.
So weird.
Not helped by the fact that Daria Bannister got on the end of a few but kicked none 3, I think it was, from set shots. But I mean, she slots 2 of those on any other day, so I'm not worried about that. But yeah, like you said, we do have to tighten that up a little bit because if we are going to run it with the best teams in the comp, then that is something that has to improve.
Just on the set shot kicking because this is
This is an Ari Grape corner.
yeah, there's very much corner areas, but it's just
All right, I'll
me,
step back.
It's pissing me off something shocking. The amount of times someone has a set shot from like 35 out and they make a really late decision to pass it off to someone leading straight at them into traffic. We never, ever, ever hit that kick. Never.
Yeah.
It's never a mark. It's always a spoil or the opposition takes an intercept. It's never a mark. And I don't think it's such a late decision. I don't think this was like the plan. I don't think it's like when they're like 45 out and they're always going to pass it, but they shape up like they're going to take the shot. It's not that. They're shaping up to take the shot. And people are pointing at the goals, but when they take the mark, like everyone's very confident that they can make the distance.
Be selfish.
Yeah, but the people still lead at them, and I feel like I don't know if it's because someone's leading at them, they feel like they have to pass it for like team rules or
But
whatever.
a lot of it is probably just like a dummy lead, like just trying to draw a defender out.
But dummy leading for what? They're taking a shot at goal.
Exactly, it's
couple off the
taking
line maybe,
taking
but
people
yeah.
off the line.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But
still don't kick to it, you know.
yeah,
regardless.
Don't use
kick,
that-
yeah,
don't
then
use
kick
that
to it.
lead,
You know,
yeah.
they should know not to kick to the lead then.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if it's players need to stop doing the lead or at least stop leading straight at the kicker, like lead out. You know, to some space because we just never hit it.
Yeah, lead out to not a set shot. Like something
Bonnie
that's
did it this
obviously-
game. George G did it last game. It happens all the time, and it never works. So stop doing it.
Press Parker's taking advantage from a free kick.
Yeah, look,
Someone
I
talk
mean,
me through this.
she kicked a goal, so it doesn't really matter, I guess.
At the end of the day, not awful, but
yeah,
like, you know.
yeah. But Nanscon got a free kick for high holding, bit of both. Maybe at a push 12, 15 metres out directly in front. And instead of just holding the ball up, Maddie has sort of taken 3 or 4 steps and snapped it over her left shoulder. And it went through. Great kick.
Trying to hit the highlights.
Yeah. So, yeah, you know, well done for scoring it. But I think 9 times out of 10, I would love to see you just sort of take a second,
Yeah.
bring it back. Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with you on this.
Oh,
Wow, okay.
yes. Debate.
Firstly, to bail Maddie out, I'm pretty sure she gets a handball received from someone after. So Nanscon gets the free kick, is tackled. Someone else has the ball, hand passes it to Maddie, who then takes the advantage. So firstly,
I need to get up the crypto.com
we'll have to
score
look back
review.
at it, and we can discuss it next week to see who was right.
Correct.
But even if that wasn't the case, even if she just took the advantage and snapped, I think there's as good a chance of her hitting that kick as there is of Nanscon taking the set shot from that. Like, you know what I mean? Like
That might be the case, but I don't think it's...
like people can take advantage. It's not like against team rules to do that. It's just
Yeah,
like you
it's
don't
true.
want to do it and fuck it up.
Yeah,
She
but
didn't
if
fuck
you
it
do
up.
fuck it up, it'd be the Langford
If she fucked it
Stringer
up,
stuff
this
all
would be a
over
different
again.
conversation. I agree with you. But like, I don't know. I feel like it's not like we're like just such good set shots that like always take the set shot.
If it was 25 out on a bit of an angle, sure, but I backed Nanscon in from 10 directly.
She's not the
Were we
greatest
just
kicker in the
singing her
world.
praises?
Yeah, but not for the kicking.
Just for everything else.
Yeah.
And sadly, Emma Clark off with a knee injury. It looked pretty innocuous, but we know that the most innocuous looking ones are usually the worst. We are waiting for an update on what happened with that, but Libby Birch is speculating an MCL.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's weird because we were speaking last time about Sophie van der Veuvel and how you know she was taking painkillers and not down to the rooms. Emma Clark into the rooms, into the brace, ice on the knee.
That's not good. That's not a good look.
That's done for the day immediately. That's like a worry in itself. But then I like just the action. Looking back on it, like I wouldn't be shocked if it was an ACL even.
Yeah.
It's that really innocuous looking, twisting, planted leg motion.
And you can like we know, you can just get up and walk off with an ACL as well, because it's that immediate snap, and then it's just like, oh, this is fine, and you kind of like convince yourself that you're okay.
Yeah, you see a lot of people like running, doing sprints on the boundary after they do it, thinking they might be able to go back.
Yeah,
because it just doesn't hurt anymore after the first like minute.
It doesn't hurt because it doesn't exist.
Yeah. But I don't know, like you see it a lot where players, even without a player near them, they can just be running and they slight change of direction.
Yeah.
and it's that planted foot and the slight
Yeah.
little twist, and
You're done.
Yeah, so it didn't look great.
Yeah.
But even if it's an MCL, she's out for the season
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly.
Yeah.
And any of the CLs, and we probably won't see her again.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed. Not an ACL, and we get it back next season. Coaches' votes. We had 9 for Georgia Nance Scorn, 8 for Maddie Pressbarkis, 5 for Mira Gervin from Gold Coast, 4 for Steph Wales, 2 for Georgia Clark, and 1 each for Lucy Single for Single, and Charlie Rowbottom. But round 6 Rising Star,
Yay.
Amy Gaylor.
Hey.
Very well deserved. Congratulations, Amy. Had, like you were saying earlier, had really 2 incredible games this week.
Yeah.
Against the Swans, she had 15 disposals, 4 tackles, and 6 intercepts. And then against the Suns, she had 11 disposals, 6 marks, and 3 of which were contested, and 6 intercepts.
Yeah, I kind of expected her to get a vote in that Suns game as well. I almost thought she was better in the Suns game. But the two of them together, either of one of those games could have gotten you a Rising Star award. 2 within a few days. Lock it in.
Oh, lock it.
Yeah.
Just give her the actual award.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Kind of
Yes,
like,
please.
kind of like what I was saying about Manny Gay about reading the game. I think Amy Gaylor has that thing as well.
Yeah.
She just reads the ball in flight really
Yeah.
well, gets to the right spot. And she's got really strong hands. She's not like the tallest in the world, but yeah, her all parts of her game, you can see why we took her. I still don't quite understand how that whole selection worked because it was weird. There was one for each team. I don't know how, and it was like us. She came from the Calder Cannons, which is like our sort of
feeder.
area.
Yeah.
So like I don't quite get how that all worked, and if it was a normal draft where she would have fit into the mix. Like I think she would have obviously been a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't quite get it. So it was hard to place her at the start of the year, but she's been growing week by week.
Yeah.
And just getting better and better as she goes.
Growing in confidence as well. Like
That's great.
She was taking on kicks in the last couple of games that she wasn't in the first few games. In the first few games, she'd get her intercept possession, fire off a little handball to someone to the side.
Yeah.
But particularly in the Suns game, there was about 3 kicks where she's taken the ball at half back and just gone, oh, yep, 45 metres, angle, bang, there you go, have that one.
There you go.
Picks up a ball on the half bounce, takes a turn, bang, 25 metres out to the wing. There you go. Like
Perfect.
Yeah.
Like she may be the best kick in the team.
She actually might be, yeah.
She's 19.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Crazy.
terrifying?
Also, if anyone wants to laugh, look at the pre-season jumper presentation photos for her because her entire family is about a foot shorter than she is. Dad, mum, brothers, the whole gang.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's very
cute. She's like, I mean, I guess with her kind of getting that confidence and feeling more comfortable to hit those shots, she's normally a bit of a midfielder, right? So her sitting in the back 6 is like, not only is she getting used to playing in a new team and at an elite level, but it's also like playing in a completely new position. So it's great to see her kind of finding that comfort and getting that confidence.
It's very much the kind of Nick Dacos, Sheasel thing. Elite talents, put them in the back, on the back flank to start off with, where they'll get more ball than, they don't have to find the ball as much.
Yeah.
And you can make use of their elite sort of attributes and not have to worry about them finding the pill. But you think that eventually she's going to end up running through the midfield all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So this means that she is the first Bomber this season to get a Rising Star nod, and just the 4th in our history of AFLW to be nominated for Rising Star. So we had Paige Scott in season 6,
Clarkie.
and Clarkie with
Steph Wales as well.
and then Steph Wales twice last season.
That's right. Yeah.
Love that. Let's go. All right, round 7. Feels like we're about
Marathon bod.
20.
7 part A, 7 part B.
It's like 8:50. I'm so tired. But we are going back to Whitten Oval on Friday night, 11th of October at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I'm so tired. Against the Doggies.
Never played them before?
No.
First game against the Doggies.
That's exciting.
Yeah. We're looking forward to this one.
Yeah. How are they doing this season?
Up and down. No, down and then up a little bit and then down.
Yeah.
They really struggled at the start. I mean, no one expected them to be a great side this year, having been just absolutely rinsed by free agency and trading and things like that, and even some injuries as well.
Yeah.
In the last couple of weeks, they've fought back a little bit. They've got 2 good wins against, I think it was Collingwood, fantastic, and Sydney, I believe, when Sydney rested a few and maybe got caught napping a little bit at Whitten. But they're on the bounce back a little bit. They did get thumped by North Melbourne recently.
I mean,
a couple of days
everyone
ago.
has.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not going to beat them with that stick because 59-4 against North Melbourne isn't weirdly actually that bad.
At least you got some point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is sadly their second goalless game of the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they will be a good side in the years to come.
Yeah.
When they develop a little bit more, but at the moment they are shit.
Yeah, they are genuinely shit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they've also got Ellie Blackburn out for the season with their foot ligament
but
stuff.
who's by distance the most experienced and best player.
Yeah, and it's like, oh no.
Yeah, so that sucks. They've got a lot of young talent. They've got a lot of kids who will be great players.
Yeah. It's a building year.
Yeah, but they're kids. They're surrounded by literally no one of any experience and high quality.
Pritchard and Deanna Berry are probably the only 2, but even then, they're not going to go to a team higher up the table and be world beaters. That's for sure.
Yeah, they don't have too good Gay Pressparkers and Scorn. They don't have these senior experienced heads who are top players around a group of younger kids.
Every other club in the league has 2 former Western Bulldogs players that are of that level, which is a bit sad, but
including us.
Yeah.
Gamble.
That's right.
It's probably more.
Bonnie,
Too good.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I'd like to think
2.
that we probably are going to dominate them pretty well then. Should be a pretty easy win.
Yeah, I mean, they got their win against Collingwood. Collingwood are probably going to end up wooden spoon, but Collingwood have a massive injury list. If they didn't have so many injuries, they wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah.
And then, Sydney rested players and, who knows with the shot breaks and all that. But if we want to be serious finals team, we win this week. And
we win this week very convincingly.
We do need a little bit of a percentage boost,
nudge. That'd be great.
How crazy last week before the Suns game, our percentage was 100, 205 for, 205 against. Crazy.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Their number 1 pick likely coming in.
Yeah, they've got a couple of players to look out for. Recent draft picks. Number 1 pick, the hyphenator.
Have you made this up, or is that someone else made
I've
this up?
stolen it from Lewis Roberts Thompson from 20 years ago.
Yeah,
I don't know who that is.
Hyphen.
Hyphen. Okay, fair enough.
We all know how Rex Hunt's doing. But
also,
you take it.
She's also got one more hyphen. So,
don't
worry about Lewis Roberts Thompson. This is KLWT, Christy Lee Weston Turner.
Why would you call someone the hyphen
hyphen
if it's only one hyphen?
Yeah.
So many people have that. Sorry. The hyphenator is good.
Yeah, she got managed against North Melbourne, a bit of a... Maybe showing a bit of...
a choice?
Yeah. We don't need to roll you out and get rolled by 50 points, so we'll give you a week off.
Okay.
But she's an athletic key forward. She kicked a few goals, kicked 2 against Sydney and 1 against Collingwood, or the other way around. Can't really remember. But she will be a very good player in the future.
Yeah. So I guess with that strong back 6, just have someone on a bit of a harder tag on her.
Yeah.
Quash it down.
Georgia Clark's...
well, if she's not running off up the field, getting her own footy. And another, the other end of the... No, not the other end. Same end. Wow. Elaine Grigg.
Yeah, Elaine Grigg, pick number 6. Small forward who can kind of... I think she'll go into midfield later in her career as well, but she's not too damaging with the ball. She doesn't get too much ball, but her relentless pressure and tackle numbers, when you're watching the game, if you're watching on the TV, you'll see her run through frame about 15 times a second. She is just an absolute... greyhound on speed, flies around.
She loves the zoomies. Exactly. That would make it pretty fun to watch then.
It is. You'll be watching a contest and you will see someone flying from the side and you're like, what the fuck? Is that flashes just shot through? What is going on here? And I do work with her, and I have seen her dob some shots from pretty ridiculous angles on the footy field. So
love that for her and for your viewing pleasure, but not on game day, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Feel free to run through and be a bit of a hectic energy, but don't kick the goals, please.
Yeah. Changes to our side. We're going to say Amber Clark's probably going to be pretty short out.
Yeah.
But we've also got Cody Jacques, Goffey, Vott, Dyke all in the mix to probably come back in.
Yeah, I don't.
How did we reckon that'll work? There'll probably be. I wouldn't be surprised if there'll be some some players that we maybe want to rest that have played like the last 3 games straight.
Yeah, you could probably take a risk on taking a few numbers out. I wouldn't go crazy, but I think, I don't know, personally I would probably bring in Jacques for Clark, and that might be about it.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy switch.
Yeah, like I would have said Vought at the start of the year, but she has been not quite herself when she has been in the side. So I'm not too stressed if she stays out. But yeah, what do you guys think?
I'm not. I guess it depends on if they do rest some players. This wouldn't be a bad time to rest some people, but I'm not sure where Vought fits with Bonnie back in the team. Probably the same with Goff as well. But yeah, I'm not sure. We're pretty tall now because I don't think they'd move Gamble out of there.
Yeah. Goff's not taking Gamble's spot. I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah.
No.
So unless they move Gamble out, I'm not
too
sure
well
he would
as well.
come in. Yeah, it was a bit weird with. So Cody was suspended for the Swans game, up to then played every game this season. But then she wasn't brought straight back in for Suns, which I found...
I don't mind it. I'm quite happy to leave Adams in the side in place of Jacques. Well, Jacques will probably come back in for Clarkey, but Jacques has provided a little bit throughout the year, but I think Adams just a bit more future planning. I'd like to see her stay in the side. But
yeah, I mean, when Adams played early this season against West Coast, she was great. We were all shocked that she was dropped after that.
Yeah.
So she definitely deserved another crack at it. But also, I think there's just been some weird selection stuff all season, like Bushy not playing all season, not even making emergencies, and then randomly...
Lily Rose Williamson just sort of fell off a map as well at some point.
Yeah. It's just sort of people sort of randomly disappear for form reasons, but they seem to be playing all right.
Yeah.
And then... Yeah, I don't know, people sort of get resurrected out of the blue, like Bushy, who's then keeps her spot despite, so, yeah, I don't know. I find selection really hard to pick week in, week out these days.
Yeah. I guess that's what happens when you start getting a bit of depth in the side as well, where it's like, everyone is good.
Yeah.
How do you form the best team?
And I don't mind the magnets being switched around early, mid-season. I would hope that come round 8, 9, 10, we've got a pretty locked-in best side, but I'm happy to try some things out for sure.
No, I think we can't underestimate what losing Bonnie did to us, like tall rotation throughout the squad, because it just wasn't working up forward for a few weeks, and we were trying lots of different stuff, and then obviously Gamble moves, which changes our defensive makeup, and people have to get moved again. So it kind of threw everything into a bit of disarray. I'm not sure they would have planned it this way had we not had that injury. So I think, we do need to cut them a bit of slack for the weird and wonderful selections.
I wouldn't mind seeing Alexander given a managed for 1 week and give Goff another go. She was pretty solid when she came in, and she would have been playing the entire time had Bonnie... She would have been playing the entire time had she not got injured the same time as Bonnie. So I would love to see her get another go, as well as that she can go into ruck as well. And with Dyke not in the side...
Soph's doing a bit of that.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I wouldn't hate seeing Goff in place of that, because is Alexander about 32, maybe something like that. Yeah, I'm happy to give younger players a run, especially when we've got the Doggies.
Yeah, and an easy, hopefully easy win game. Well, speaking of, shall we do some predictions? I can't even remember what we predicted for the Swans game.
We beat the Swans by more than we did. That's for sure.
Yes.
We've got to stop deleting this stuff off of our...
we do. Either that or I've actually set it out now, so we'll write it all down. First goal kicker, who you reckon? I think it's going to be Bonnie. I think she's going to come back in as an
first game against the former side.
Absolute screamer. Yeah.
I'd love that, actually. Yeah, shit.
Just about the first games, I did love, after we sang the song on the ground, everyone got around Best Keeney.
Yeah.
They really like it when we can rub one into the old team.
Yeah, and she was saying that she's really loving the connection within the group as well. And I think she's just really, saying that she feels right at home, which is really nice.
Those post-match interviews that she's done really cement in my mind why she was given a leadership role. So well spoken. Yeah. And even after 7 games with this lot, she's infatuated with the club.
She's I'm all in.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
Goal kicker, Ari.
Goal kicker, yeah. Yeah, Bonnie's a great shout. I'm going for Bonnie as well.
Way to just copy me. Yeah. What about you, Jordy?
You had a great shout. What do you want from me?
Yeah, that's true.
I'll change up a bit and go for Scotty.
Scotty. Beautiful. Who are we thinking for best on? I said Cody. I feel like she's going to come back. Like, if she's picked for this side, she's going to come back with a fucking fire under her ass. And I think she's going to really play for her spot.
I love it.
Maddie P. No one's going to be out from them is going to be able to tag her, I don't think.
Yeah,
that's true. That's a very good shout.
I would have said Georgia Clark, but I'm assuming the ball's going to be in our forward half more than not. So I will say... I'm going to go Amy Gaylor. Fuck it. Why not?
I think like she'll be riding high after getting the
Rising Star,
the Rising Star. Result and margin. I've said a win with 23 points. I think that's a pretty safe bet.
It's not going to be a 50-point drubbing like the North Melbourne game, I don't think. I would love it to be. I'd love it to be Melbourne Part 2, but yeah, I'm going to stick around the same. I'm going to go 5 goals, maybe 30 points.
I'm like, please give me that in points.
47.
All right.
I think it's going to be an absolute spanking.
Pantsing. All right. Well, hopefully we'll chat about that next week and see how it goes.
We should have actually known about the Swans because we always think we're going to smack them and it's always close.
Yeah. Let's have a quick look around the grounds. There's a fair bit going on, I suppose. But NRL Grand Final, did anyone watch that on Sunday evening?
Oh, I had it on my phone, on my lap while I was watching TV with my girlfriend, yeah.
Yeah.
Penrith getting that 4-peat. I was like,
spewing.
God damn it.
Yeah, I'm spewing. I hated it. Hated every second of it.
Kid Leroy did a good performance, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't want to speak about that game.
I have, when I say I've got no NRL ball knowledge, I am not exaggerating.
Really?
Do Penrith, are they a pink team?
Not normally.
They're away.
That would mean their away clap. Yeah, their clash kit.
They're black usually.
Yeah.
All right, I was looking at it, I was like, who the fuck are these guys? I've never seen this before.
Like a panther.
That checks out. Yeah.
But Melbourne Storm are like that dark purple and like darker colours as well. So I like the pink kit though.
Yeah, I
do. It's very cute.
Cool, yeah.
But yeah, 4 flags on the trot for them. Just crazy. Sorry, Ari.
So at least one Sydney team can show up at a grand final.
Yeah. But that hasn't been done since St George did it in the 60s.
They did more than that though, didn't they?
They did. I think they did like 8 or something. Something insane.
Something like that'll never happen ever.
Yeah.
We're talking like the bank?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, because they're the St George Dragons.
Yeah.
And then they merged with the Illawarra Steelers and became the St George Illawarra Dragons.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think Penrith, like this will probably be the end because I think their team's getting broken up a bit. They're losing a lot of their stars.
Well, Luau is out. He's done for the club now.
Their winger who scored all their tries is out as well.
Yeah.
There's a few of them are out.
Yeah.
So
also that pylon try was a fucking try.
Yeah.
That ball hit the ground. They were saying that there was something underneath it and I'm like, what? Grass?
Yeah.
Like
the amount of times what is the bunker, is there one? Yeah, bunker.
Yeah, the bunker.
The amount of times
it's just a different crypto sponsor. For that one.
I couldn't I would not have made the call that they called.
Yeah.
For like at least 50% of decisions. Like, oh, he knocked on. Like, really? Where?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see that.
Oh, that guy bit that guy. It's like, yeah, because he shoved his arm in his mouth.
In his mouth. How did he bite him with a mouth guard on?
This is just
how did he leave teeth impressions with a mouth guard on?
The bottom teeth, probably.
This is that Sydney bias and NRL stuff I was talking about last week. It's bullshit.
All right, let's not talk about that anymore. Jordy's just like, I have no idea what's going on. But the trade season for the men's is heating up.
Not for us, it isn't.
Not for us, no. Men's podcasts have done a bit of a deep dive. If you want to go take a listen to that, I think they did a bit of an emergency pod. When was it? Sunday? I can't remember.
Came out on, I think so.
Yeah. But Matt Rosa, we've got a new talent manager. The Dodos left.
Yeah.
Thoughts on him?
My only thought is that he sounds like a guy that played for us when we were bringing in top-up talent in that drug saga era.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if he did, but it just sounds like he played halfback for us.
He didn't. But
no, because the only person that kept playing for us in that time was David Zaharakis.
Yeah, but he wasn't a top-up.
But he was
James Gwilt.
Yeah, that kind of...
Matt D, maybe that's where I'm getting from. Matt D.
played for us as a halfback flank during that time.
Oh, Ryan Crowley. Oh, what a side. God, we were terrible.
But we got
cool.
what's his face from Geelong, who was great.
Chappie.
Not that one. The other one, halfback flanker. This is assistant coach there now. Name escapes me. Also bald. James.
Oh,
You know what I'm
yes.
talking about.
Yep.
Can't remember his name.
It was so recently,
That
and
guy.
yet my brain is just like,
Brain's just not
could
working
not
today.
tell you.
I'm going to look it up because it's going to piss me off. now.
Okay. But Rosa was on Trade Radio talking more about like draft pick acquisition rather than actual talent, right?
Yeah, it was all pretty boring. It was talking that they're focusing on acquiring draft picks, but he then went on to say that no one really wants Stringer or Laverty, and he just wants to keep Shield. So I don't really know.
James
what's going
Kelly.
on.
James Kelly. Oh,
That's
yeah,
right,
JK.
he was good.
Yeah, I think Stringer might get to GWS. They want him, and he wants to go.
Do they want him though?
Well, they want him, just whether they're prepared to pay anything in terms of picks to get him is the question.
But the thing is that like I don't see him getting any more than a year anywhere else.
Well, they're offering him 2. I
Oh,
think.
really?
That's the whole
Wow.
point. That's why he wants to go.
Joke's on you.
Yeah. But
Have
yeah,
fun
like
with
we've
someone
got.
who's lazy all the time. Love you, Jacob.
So we've got pick 8 now, moved back to whatever it's moved back to. But
9 and 31. I
Yeah,
believe.
but-
yeah.
so we've got Kako coming in,
Mhm.
and we want to get a pick before he's going to get. Like we don't want to have to use that pick 8 or 9
Yeah.
on him.
Right.
So we need another high pick. We need another pick like 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
I just
So-
don't know where that's going to come from though, because no one's going to give that for anything that we've got that we'd want to get rid of. I wouldn't have thought. Like,
Well, no, we can
Lab's
pack-
not commanding anything past the 4th
No,
round.
but we can swap next year's first round pick for it.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
But the point is not so much that we're going to get a pick like that from someone else. It's more like we're not going to be using our picks
Yeah.
to get other people because
Yeah.
we need to get more picks.
Okay.
Well, we like.
Draft and trade just
Yeah, we
confuses the shit out of
Yes,
me.
ridiculous.
But the rules have benefited us hugely with Kako this year because if this happened last year, we wouldn't have got him because last year, up to pick 40, if the pick came before pick 40 for an NGA from Victoria, then you don't get him. He goes to the club that selects him.
Melbourne got royally fucked by that rule change because that was only the case for about 3 years or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was ever since Jamara. That was the
okay.
last year because Jamara was an NGA to Dogs and we went pick 1.
The D's missed out on Mac Andrew, and I'm sure there's another name I can't remember. But like to have that rule flip flop back, and then
Yeah,
it's
there's
hilarious.
quite a few clubs got completely screwed by that. I think also Lemon Lyle, who didn't
Lyle, yeah.
who didn't play for a senior game this year yet, but he would have gone to Collingwood.
True.
He was an NGA for them, so there was like lots of this stuff going on.
Interesting.
But so it's benefited us this year because Kako will go top 15 definitely,
Yeah.
and so hopefully we'll be able to get a top 10 pick and him in 15 before 15.
Interesting. Speaking on Stringer, do you reckon Brisbane might be interested now that Joey's gone? Less of a tall forward, but more of like a power forward.
Someone to kick to, yeah.
Could you see? I mean, no. I went to say, could you see him in Brisbane? But yes, I
could
think
see
I
him in
really
Brisbane.
could see him
Oh,
in Brisbane.
him and Dwayne Zorko, Dwayne, whatever. Dwayne the Buff and Dwayne. Him and I'm going to stick with it. Him and Dwayne Zorko will be best, but like
Besties.
best mates. Yeah.
They would get up to no good.
Oh, can you imagine?
Yeah, I think he'd like Brisbane. I'm not sure Brisbane would want him though.
Yeah. He'd like Brisbane, but just spend all his time on the Gold Coast. Anything else that we want to note on that? Or are we good to kick on to the next thing?
Yeah, I just think it's going to be really quiet.
We don't
trade period for
we
us.
don't need to talk about Setterfield or Wiedemann contracts, do we?
Weed. No. Pride Guernseys are out. Well, almost all of them. I noticed that Adelaide haven't put theirs up, which is like, come on, guys.
Some teams have played in them and some teams haven't released them yet.
Yeah,
It's so strange.
But then again, I checked the AFL thing today, and it didn't have ours. It said ours to be, but ours came out last
Yeah,
week.
that
We
is
all
true.
saw it.
Maybe
So-
they were like, that's not the one that we wanted.
Maybe AFL admin just doesn't keep up with us.
Yeah. I quite like... Do we have any faves, actually, before I go into which ones I like?
Doggies.
Doggies is good.
Nice.
Doggies have always had really good representation of like the trans community, which I think is like It goes a step further than just like Pride, the kind of standard Pride stuff.
Cynically, I think they only do that because pink and blue works well with their colour scheme.
I know someone that is on the Pride board and they would be very upset by that.
Well, suck it, because we're going to smash you this week.
Yeah.
I appreciate the Dogs. They always try something a little bit.
They do,
Whereas like the Sydney ones always look pretty clean, but there's just kind of like a rainbow
Let's not talk
on
about
their
the fucking
jersey or
D's
something.
one this year.
Oh, there's real shows.
Great effort, Demons. Well done. Good work. I really like the Port Adelaide one.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Port
they kind
one's
of like
cool.
The colourful ribbons with, diversity and things
Well, it's
written
like
all
you
over
look
it.
at it close up and it does look like ribbons, but then when you step back and like when you are looking at it, like when it's on screen, you notice that it's big lightning bolts,
Yeah.
which I love. I really like that.
The North one's
The North one's
quite
great,
fun as
having
well.
the little heart in the
Yeah,
kangaroo.
very cute, isn't it? The little
It's
heart.
very sweet.
The big rainbow hawk on the front of the Hawks jumper.
There's a lot of detail in that one,
There is,
which
yeah.
like I think that might look a bit like it's great and the artwork is fantastic, but like I'm just trying to think about what it will look like on broadcast,
The graphic would look good on any other jumper but the Hawthorn jumper.
but not the P's and We's.
It's just gross. It's so
Yeah. Oh, I just saw the Sydney one.
It's cute, but it's
It's
just kind of
nice.
like Rainbow Harbour Bridge
yeah.
action.
No, it's Rainbow Opera House. Thank you.
I mean, that's what I mean. Yeah, sorry. Not Harbour Bridge.
It looks really good. It's just
Yeah.
it's just a bit more of the same from them.
Yeah.
Try something a little bit out there.
Yeah, go wild.
Your point about what it would look like on broadcast is a good one, particularly
Mm.
for the Fremantle one.
You can't see it.
Up close, it's pretty intricate, kind of cool,
Yeah.
but like you wouldn't see that from half a metre away, let alone like on a shitty 720 KO stream.
Yeah.
Can't see anything on
You had to, I had to like
stream.
take a second squiz at that to see what was going on.
Yeah.
So on a broadcast, it's not going to
Let
look
me
great.
look up the Freo one.
It's like a colourful geometric anchor.
It almost looks like rhinestoney,
Oh,
don't you think?
yeah.
It's like, I think it's made to look like a rhinestone anchor. Bunch of anchors.
That's okay. Celebrating unity and creating lines of connection. See, that's nice, but yeah, that it needs to be
They need to be
like
more.
that'll disappear.
Yeah.
Like you won't see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I do like
Control
that,
B,
like
just make it a bit bold. It'll be all right.
bold line. Cool. And ours, look, I don't love it, but I don't hate it.
Mm.
It's not awful, but it's not great.
Yeah, I think we've done better and we can do better. Yeah, it is what it is.
I'd enjoy them just going wild with it, like forgetting
Yeah.
the sash.
Go
Just
crazy.
go crazy. Yeah.
Like the Richmond one is kind of, I don't know. It's all right, but it's like they've been creative and bold with it. Like it still
I
has
think
yellow
that- I
in the
think- I
sash
think
at the
their one is
bottom.
Fuck ugly.
I just think
But, like,
Nintendo is
it's
going to be
like-
sending a cease and desist
Oh,
soon.
from
'cause-
Rainbow Road.
Yeah, it is
it
straight
looks
up Rainbow
exactly
Road.
like that.
I remember my childhood is parked in front of that Richmond jersey, racing that track
Yeah.
for about 45 minutes.
Falling
at a
off
time.
the side every
Yeah.
2 seconds.
Yeah.
I would want to get like a little Mario Kart pin and just put it on there somewhere. All right. Is there anything else that we want to chat about before we wrap it up? It has been a long night. I'm very ready to go to
Yeah,
bed.
let's go home.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. If you do want to pick up some merch, please do that over on our site and socials. Sign up to our socials, follow us on there. And we do also have our Discord as well if you want to come and join the conversation, ask us some questions, look at all the men's talking about the fucking trade rumours and everything. It's a great read every now and again. But thank you so much for listening. This has been quite a long one, and thank God we won't have to do one like this again. Anytime soon, hopefully not again next season.
Get down to Whitten Oval this week.
Yeah.
Go see the Doggies.
Vibes are great down there.
Yeah, the
Get
vibes
along.
are high. The chippies are good. They have a very good selection of sauce. So like the little chippy schnitzel van that's next to the big screen, they have like every kind of sriracha known to man.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. And you can go back and put more sauce on as well.
I was on the hill eating Ethiopian curry with my brother with our hands. So
Well, that's how you meant to eat Ethiopian.
yeah. I'm just a bit worried that the cameras might have caught it. So don't go looking too closely behind the goals of me just like paprika all over my face or whatever. Yeah.
Did you bring that in?
We did bring it in, yeah.
That's
but
so
forgot
smart.
cutlery, so it was a bit of a battle.
Did you have like the sour bread?
We did, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's how you meant to eat
Not
it.
much. We were kind
Not
of
much.
slurping
Oh,
it from
no.
the container at the end a little. Yeah.
You could have just gone and gotten cutlery from one of the
We really
food
could have.
vans,
We
yeah.
really, really could have.
Didn't really think, did you?
No, not often.
All right. Again, thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you at the game. And if not, we'll see you next week. Up the Plains.
Go Plains.
Go Bombers.